Thank you for spending part of your evening with us. We came out today to share some information about 9 construction projects that are happening in and around Linden. We want to inform you all of what that work is going to look like and answer your questions and concerns. We're going to run through a quick presentation here. This presentation is going to be recorded and on YouTube, and we will send out that presentation maybe within a week or so. Still needs to be louder? Okay, good. Okay, we're going to run through a quick presentation, and then we are going to answer some questions very briefly, and then we're going to do kind of an open house style. Our teams in the blue t-shirts are able to answer any of your questions. We have tables set up throughout the room to answer questions about your specific property. Okay. Is there a clicker?
I got one here.
Thank you.
Where's your laptop at?
We've got one, thank you. All good, thank you.
Good?
Good, thank you. Okay. So again, we're here tonight because there are 9 construction projects happening in and around Linden. I know not all of you are from Linden. Some of these construction projects will be happening outside of the Linden community. And again, we'll have a brief Q&A after this presentation and then release to an open house. Okay, I'm here with Emily Eskridge from Columbus Water and Power, and she's going to give you some information on our water quality.
Can you hear me? We got to turn down. That's all right. All right, can you hear me now? Perfect. Sorry, I'm trying not to have the mic interfere with Hannah's mic. They mic'd her up, but I get to hold one, so, it's exciting. My name's Emily Eskridge. I am the Regulatory Compliance Manager for the Division of Water for Columbus Water and Power. I oversee all of our compliance requirements with the federal government, Ohio EPA, and under that is our lead and copper program. So the lead and copper program is one of the programs that I manage. I'm here to talk a little bit about why we're doing this project and a little bit about things you should know about lead and lead service lines. The first thing that we always like to lead with, though, is there lead in your water? We start talking about lead. I know people see images of Flint in their mind. They worry about having a lead service line. Obviously, none of us want to drink lead. The good news is that we don't have detectable lead in our water. The City of Columbus samples on a regular basis. We have a very effective corrosion control program, and we actually partner with the Columbus Public Health Department, and anytime we have a household with elevated blood lead levels, we take a water sample as well as any sort of other public health investigation samples. The vast majority of those are non-detect. It's very rare that we see even the lowest level of detection because our effective corrosion control. So essentially, the main takeaway is that we're not replacing lines because we have a lead problem. We're replacing lines, A, because it's the right thing to do. It's time to take them out. We want to move forward. We don't want to have lead in our system anymore. B, because we are now required to by the federal government in the next 10 years. I think the timeline, has definitely advanced us to do this faster, but we were already doing it. We've been doing it since 1996. Now we've hastened the timeline. So that's why there's so many projects that you'll see in your area. There's a lot more work happening all at once. And then ultimately, like I've said here, we have really effective corrosion control, and we've been doing this work since 1996. So we've been actively removing for a while. There's still some lead left. I know people are surprised by that, but it's time to take it out. Ultimately, Lead Safe Columbus is a program that we've put in place in order to replace all lead and galvanized service lines. Galvanized service lines are galvanized steel lines. Most of them are downstream of lead, and they can collect lead particles. That's why the galvanized lines need to come out as well. These lines are well beyond their useful life. And I want to drive that home. If you have a galvanized service line, it is at least 60 years old because we have not allowed that for 60 years in our system. A lot of them are being held together by the ground. So I really, really recommend that you sign a work agreement. Let us take it out for you for free. It's going to save you money for us to do this, and then you're going to have a brand new shiny line that really, will invest in the structure of your home and make sure that you have a good working service line for the next 20 to 40 years. We're doing copper, so probably 40 to 50 years. It'll last a long time. As part of this program, we are prioritizing historically underserved communities. We're partnering with other city projects, and we're trying to collaborate as best as we can with other city departments. We want to be efficient. We want to get it done with one hole in the ground, not 3 holes in the ground. And we want to try to get in and out of your neighborhoods without disrupting your lives as much as possible. So you might be thinking, what is a water service line? If you're here, you probably know. It's the line that delivers water to your home. It starts at the main. Most mains are under the street. It'll go to a curb stop. If you look kind of near your sidewalk or in the tree lawn between the sidewalk and the street, you might see a little circle. That is the curb stop. That's the valve where we can turn water on and off. The city side is between that curb stop and the main. The customer side, your side, is between the curb stop and the home. You own that line between the curb stop and the home, and if something were to happen to it today, you would be responsible for repairing it. And so that's even more of a big benefit as to why you should let us do it for free when we come to your house. You get a free upgrade, and it helps alleviate some responsibility maybe on your end, at least in the short term, to make sure that line is updated. I guess one thing the slide changed. Those pieces can be made from different materials. So I know I talked about lead and galvanized. We're kind of unique in the city of Columbus. For the most part, and I would say we've never found lead on the customer side. The lead has always been on the city side. The customer side is galvanized steel. So when you do a survey, when you're looking at your material, more than likely it's going to be galvanized if it's going to fall within our program. If it is lead, definitely let us know because we want to know. But we have never found it. We've done, I think I have 200,000 lines identified. We've never seen it. So we're not really sure why that is, but it's kind of a unique thing to Columbus. Ultimately, like I said, we're replacing lines for a few reasons. We started this program actually before the government passed their new regulations. The new federal regulations do require us to do this by 2037. But once again, it's the right thing to do. It's time to remove lead from the system. Galvanized steel can collect particles, like I said. That's why it's got to come out with the lead. For all intents and purposes, we're treating galvanized like lead. It can carry a similar risk. Our corrosion control works well with it too, so it doesn't mean that it is releasing lead. It just carries similar risk. We are trying to incorporate this into other city work. We want to be efficient, and we're being proactive. Pipes break. Any sort of pipe breaks over time. It's part of good asset management. It helps reduce water loss. It helps our system function well overall. All right, now we're going to talk about what's happening around Linden. Is Tim?
Can you hear me? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to jump into some general information about construction. Again, we are talking about 9 construction projects happening. After this Q&A, if you want to come see anyone in a blue t-shirt, we can give you property-specific information. So like Emily mentioned, what we're doing is basically when we are opening up a hole in the ground and the water service line is going to be exposed, we want to replace those lines then and there. We're bugging you less when we do it that way. So essentially what we're doing is there's going to be a main project. Most of these projects are replacing the water main in the street. And then secondary to that project, we're replacing the water service lines, could go all the way into the home. So this could be hard to see in the back. We do have some maps up front. The majority of this work, not all of it, but the majority of this work is happening in Linden. So these red and blue lines will show where our construction projects are. This is a distribution-wide program at the end of the day, so eventually the entire distribution system will replace all of this material. We do have projects that we're talking about tonight that affect Ontario, Hunter Avenues, Italian Village, St. Mary's, Bexley. So this is the info that you all really want to know. How is this work going to be affecting you? First and foremost, replacement is free. We don't hear that from the government too often, right? But this is a free upgrade to your home. So you're looking at about $6,500 if you would do that on your own. What I really want to stress to everyone tonight is even if you have a copper or a plastic water service line, you could still be impacted by this work. Like Emily said, there are two sides of the water service line, right? The city side and then the privately owned side. Even if you have a copper or a plastic line, we could be working on that city side of the line, which will require your water be shut off for about 6 to 8 hours. If there is galvanized on your side of the line, again, water will be shut off for about 6 to 8 hours. Landscaping is going to be impacted here, and we will need access to inside the home where your water meter is, usually in the basement. Like I mentioned, there's 9 projects. The majority of them are water main replacements, but there is some street resurfacing happening, so we may need to move our cars for a day or so. And again, there will be impact to landscaping. So how do I know what's happening to me? Again, you can come up to anyone in a blue shirt after this presentation, and we can give you that information. You can also use your phone's camera and scan this QR code or go to columbus.gov/SL inventory. We have done an inventory of the entire water distribution system. You type in your address in the map, and it will show you what material is on the city side and on the private side. So that's one way, but again, you can come up and see us after this presentation and we can give you the information specific to your property. So what can you expect from this construction? Now we know that everyone is going to be impacted by this construction. You can expect to continue to hear from us. Many of you may have already talked to some of our team members. We're knocking on doors. We're sending text and emails. And everyone hopefully got a postcard in the mail that told you if your water is going to be shut off, if you're getting a private side replacement. Again, we'll have this information for you here tonight and can send this home with you. So if you didn't see that information, don't worry about it. Important to know that when it is time to schedule construction, our certified contractors will call or email you. And that's the property owner. If you're a landlord and you would prefer us to coordinate with your tenant, let us know. Also, everyone will be receiving a letter in the mail at your address. That letter is going to give you 30 days to take action. So that could be, if you do have a galvanized line, sign a work agreement. The work agreement just authorizes the city to do the work. Okay, basic expectations. What material is going in? We are going to be using copper. Copper is going to replace everything, and again, we're going from the water main in the street to your home if there's galvanized on that line. So again, the water meter usually in your basement. And our certified contractors will need to enter your home. Plan for water shutoff for about 6 to 8 hours, and someone at least 18 years old needs to be home at the time of replacement if we are replacing your line. So let's talk about coming into the home. We understand that this can be uncomfortable. No one likes to hear that the city has to come inside their home, right? Our certified contractors will primarily be the one coming inside your home, and this is the only thing that we're looking for, the water meter. Our contractors need a clear and safe path to the water meter. That's the only reason we're entering the home. We are not looking at anything else in the home. I understand that us entering the home, whether it's us or our contractors, can be uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable for our contractors too, but we're going to be respectful of your space and try and get in and out as fast as possible. It's really important to note that whether you are an owner or a tenant, you have the right to ask to see one of these, a city badge. Our contractors, our contractor inspectors, any city employee will have a badge, and it is entirely within your right to ask to see a badge, proof of employment, before we enter your home. Okay, so what can you do to prepare for a replacement? We have a full list of information for you on what you can expect from construction, how you can prepare for construction at any one of these tables. Again, our team needs a safe, clear path to the water meter in the basement, and they need about 3 feet by 3 feet of space around that water meter. So if you're like my mom, you're gonna need to move your Christmas decorations and your kids' memorabilia for a day or two. All right, so one of our master engineers is going to share some information on what construction is going to look like.
Thank you, Hannah. My name's Tim Huffman. I'm the chief engineer for the Division of Water on the distribution side. One thing I wanted to point out, we have some postcards up here. That QR code that got you to the survey is on this card. It's got a little photo of the different materials that you might have coming into your home. It's kind of helpful. Kind of gives you a little guidance on how to identify what that material is. If you don't have it in your packet, there's plenty up here for everybody to grab one and move on. As Hannah said, we've got a lot of projects. 9 projects is quite a bit in this area. Just to give you an idea, between the construction and the construction management of those projects, we're spending about $50 million on those 9 projects. We are working on not only our capital projects for water, but we're on sewer projects, city street projects, repaving projects, everything. Anything we can do to get out there and replace these services, we have quite a few to do. We've got about 60,000 to do right now, is what we're predicting. So we've got to do about 5,000 a year, quite a bit. So far we've done maybe 250, but we're learning. I want to introduce a couple gentlemen from my staff. I've got Evan DeSanto here and Kevin Kester's in the back. They are the 2 gentlemen that are in charge of this operation when it gets out in the field and doing all the design. They're great guys, and you can call it any of us and actually call into our office at any time. If you have questions during construction, we'll take care of it. So, landscaping. We're going to be digging. It's going to tear up your yard. But we will replace it. You may have to do a little watering to get the grass going, but we try to get the contractor to help with fertilizer and things of that nature. As you can see in this photo here, we dig in the street. We try to not excavate through your yard. What we will do, let's see, I think we got a picture here. Okay, yeah. So the construction process is we're going to dig a hole in the street by the curb stop and by the main, and then we'll come in your home, as you can see right here, and the contractor will pull the new line through the old line, and it will break the old line and pull through. Sometimes we can't get that to work. Sometimes, the old galvanized lines are so corroded, so built up with stuff that we can't get a line through it and we can't pull it. So then that makes us dig. But if we can do this process, you'll have a hole out front and there won't be anything in your yard. Your landscaping will be okay. That is our preferred method, but we're not 100% successful with that. So once they pull that through, they'll connect it back up to the street and they'll flush your line and for a few minutes and you'll be back in service. So you may need to collect water during that time, beforehand, so you can flush your toilets and things of that nature. And here's an example of that pull-through technique. They use the bucket of a backhoe, and they just pull that through with a steel cable, and it pulls the copper service right through. It does require your water to be shut off. Hopefully it won't be 8 hours, but we kind of tell you that, so the expectation is you're going to be out of water for 8 hours, but we try to get the contractors to work as quickly as possible. So these holes, they'll have plates on top of them. So if you don't see plates, please call us. Our inspectors and contractors are not perfect. We try to make them perfect, but this is something for your safety. We want nobody to get hurt or injured while these contractors are out here working. So on the water line replacement projects, we will be typically building a water main in the street. So one side of the street is going to be closed for construction. Through traffic is going to be coming through, so please drive safely through the construction zones. Please be mindful of the contractors. Their safety is important as well. But we'll install the water main, and then we test it, and then we have to chlorinate it to make it safe for you all to drink it. That process takes about a month to do, the chlorination part, the street part. So your street will be impacted for a couple months. It'll be a couple of months and then they'll start transferring services. So total, it can be a little over 2 months once we get everybody hooked up. But they will cross your driveways. They'll put steel plates so you can get in and out. You're always going to be able to get into your home. Emergency services will always be available to get to your home as well. These are, safety is our biggest concern for you all and the contractor. And then once we're done, we pave the side that we disturb. We're not paving the entire street. When we do the water line replacement, we just pave the side that our water main is on. I know a lot of times folks don't like that. But we're the Division of Water. We're not public service. They do all the resurfacing in the city. On the projects where we're just doing the lead service replacement, we will restore the pavement back, but we're trying to do that ahead of the resurfacing projects. So it may not look pretty until public service comes through and paves that street after construction. Well, that's you. All right.
I'm going to take it back over. Thanks, Tim.
Right. No problem.
So after construction, you're going to see a couple things that happen at your house. Probably before construction starts, you're going to receive a kit. That kit's going to have a folder in it that kind of looks like the folder you may have tonight. That folder's got a lot of information about what to expect, what you need to do, what you can do on the back side, any sort of health-related information, and things that you can use. Also in that kit will be a pitcher filter. However, the number one thing we want you to know is that after we do the work, we want you to flush your home. Our contractors should do the flushing for you. However, flushing is really critical after the home. When we disturb these lead lines, when we disturb these galvanized lines, remember I told you we treat the water to make sure there's no lead in the water. Sometimes it disturbs particulate and it can release lead in the water. The way you get rid of that is you flush it down the drain. And so we will we'll run the water. That a whole home flush is extremely effective. We've done follow-up sampling before and after flushing. Flushing works very well, but the flushing is really critical after the line is replaced. As Tim said, safety really is our priority, both for our customers and for our contractors. This is a part of safety, in my opinion, the flushing afterwards. If you ever come talk to me about lead, that's probably the number one thing I'm going to tell you. I know I've told at least 1 or 2 people tonight that they should always flush, but flushing is something that will happen after your line is replaced. In addition to this, I just mentioned the filter kit. You're going to receive a kit. It's going to have a water pitcher filter in it, similar to like what you would buy at Walmart. That pitcher is good for up to 6 months. We recommend that you use it for the next 3 to 6 months. However, the flushing should be effective. It's just for your peace of mind if you would like to use it, just to make sure any sort of temporary lead that may have been left behind or particulate that may be left behind is captured by that filter and not drank by anyone in the home. The flushing really is the main thing, though. We do recommend that you read the instructions in the kit, look at the filter instructions, look at any sort of post-replacement activities that need to be included, including like Hannah said, watering the lawn, taking care of anything that may be left behind. And then the other piece of that kit is if you have follow-up questions, if there's things in there that you're like, man, I really wonder about this, there's information to reach out to us in it as well. And so we're here as a resource. We want to make sure that you have a good experience. We want to make sure that you understand, the safety of your water, that we're doing everything we can to make sure that you're drinking safe water with your new copper service line. In addition, we are going to do restoration. Something that's really important to remember, though, is restoration could be weather dependent. If your line gets replaced in January, grass doesn't grow very well in January. We will come and reseed when the weather is favorable for grass to grow. The same thing with concrete. Concrete really doesn't lay well below certain temperatures. We want to make sure that we're laying concrete that's going to last for you. So your sidewalk may be impacted for a little bit if we have to remove any concrete. We'll make sure that there's at least a temporary patch or some gravel fill-in. It's going to be navigable in that time period, but we may have to wait for warmer or better weather if we're in a cold weather month. In general, though, we don't always restore right away. There may be a 1 to 3 week wait as we go down the street, and then we have other contractors come behind and do the concrete and restoration work. One last thing I think I didn't catch on here. Hannah talked about access to the meters. We do need to access your meter. Sometimes people wall them in. If your meter has been walled in, we will need an access panel to that meter. It's a 3 by 3 foot space. We will do our best to leave a very nice access panel when we leave as well, but we will have to access it as part of this work. All right. Hannah, is that you?
Done. We're almost done. We're almost there. What's next? So like I said, anyone with a blue shirt can give you more information about the work that is going to impact you directly. So come up to some of our tables, come up to some of us floating around the room after this. We need every single one of you to tell us what the material of your water service line is. Some of you have already done that, so thank you for doing that. If you have not done that, then you may receive, some more door hangers, some texts or emails from us. Everyone needs to do that. If you do have a galvanized line, maybe you've already told us what the material of your line is. If you do have a galvanized line, then you can sign a work agreement here tonight. We do have paper copies for you to take home or for you to review. The work agreements are just authorizing the city to do that work. So everything I just said, again, we need everyone to identify the material of their water service line. Okay, we are about to open it up for a quick Q&A. I want to emphasize that we are not answering questions specifically about your property. If you come up to one of us in a blue shirt, we can tell you what our records show your water service line material is. If you need to sign a work agreement, come up and ask us those specific questions. We want to answer some general questions and concerns here and now. Afterwards, just one moment, after the Q&A, we're going to open it up kind of open house style. I do want to point out for anyone that could be concerned about elevated blood lead levels, We do have Columbus Public here tonight. Columbus Public Health here tonight. If you exit this room, they are at the table on the right. If you are concerned about sources of lead in your home, the city does have a lot of assistance options to help remove those sources of lead for you. The Columbus Department of Development has a lot of resources, and they are available here tonight. They are at a booth out here on the left. So we're going to go ahead and open it up to Q&A. Again, please ask general questions that might apply to your friends and neighbors here tonight. Our staff members in blue can answer your property-specific questions.
Thanks, Anna. All right. It's turning back on. Oh, it did. Everybody, I'm Cameron with Columbus Water and Power. Thank you all for being here tonight. Really full room. We love that. I've got Liz here with a microphone, and I've got Leslie way in the back with a microphone. We have a couple of ground rules here. If you could please keep side conversations to a minimum and wait until the microphone comes to you to ask the question, we would love that. This is being recorded and streamed to us tonight by our friends at Columbus Television. So when we get that microphone to you, everybody in the room and watching this later will be able to hear that as well. Leslie, want to start in the back?
Yeah, is it on? Okay. Yeah, I got a question. I'm not only speaking for myself, but everyone that in the Linden area that's a property owner. When you say $6,000 for a free water line, this is not attached to anybody's property. If you want to sell it and you guys want the money back, or is this going to be enrolled into paying your water bill or anything like that? Is it totally free? Because, anybody in here that has a question like that, that's, been in their property in the Linden area for years, if you say free is free and not attached to, if you sell your home later on down the years and you guys want that money back, or if it's enrolled into your water bill, for a charge for that $6,000.
So that's an excellent question, and that's a question we've actually received quite a bit. It is not a tax assessment, and it will not be billed directly on your bill. However, all of our work, capital improvement work, everything is funded through water rates. Your water rates support that. The rates you pay today support that. And so it's not a tax assessment. It's not something that will be billed directly to your home. It's supported by those rates you pay for your water. And it's just part of that bill structure that you already pay.
Over there. I'm going to go over here next.
My question was regarding the flushing of the system, because she said you have a picture that you're going to use. He said it was going to be 2 months. So she acted like it was going to be a flush through, it was going to be great, but then he said 2 months. So how long is it going to be? And can we use like our refrigerator that has water and ice? We discontinue that for 2 months, 6 months? What's the deal?
I think also an excellent question. When they replace the main, the process that Tim talked about for 2 months, your water will still be connected to the old main while they do that. So nothing will change until they replace your service line to the new main. And so the day that they do that replacement will be the day that you'll have your water turned off for a little bit, and then they will do the flushing. So the flushing will happen during the service line replacement after that, because that's when things may be disturbed. And you will receive a kit at that time to use during that time. Does that answer your question sufficiently? It's not 2 months. It's just a temporary, like, we say 6 to 8 hours. It's really probably more like 2 to 4 hours at the end of the day. Hopefully it's shorter turnaround. And that's when the flushing needs to occur, is when your water is turned off.
Can you answer what exactly flushing is? How does someone flush their home?
So what Hannah asked is, can I explain what flushing is and how does someone flush their home? So flushing basically means we start in the basement, we open the lowest valve or the valve closest to your service line, and then we work our way up our home, opening valves through the home. We're going to run the water for about 15 to 30 minutes, and that it's going to create high velocity in your service line, which means that water is going to flow really fast through that service line. And that's the new service line in the plumbing in your home. What that does is pick up any small particulate that may be in the plumbing in your home, and it flushes out that faucet into the drain, and that way you don't have any particulate left behind in the home. So it's about creating very fast movement of water through the new service line, through your internal plumbing, in order to remove any sort of particulate that may be left behind.
I just want to make sure that it's,
Let's do this one-on-one, maybe after the.
okay. Well, I know she has a question, and I know you got one back here too. Go.
I just wanted you to ask you to repeat yourself. You said it earlier, the water main replacement. What streets would that be occurring on? You said some street names.
We can show you. We've got them all up here. Well, if you come to the table afterwards, we can show you all the streets that we'll be working on.
I have a two-part question. Both are pretty short. Is a transite line the same as a water main? So those of us on Cook Road, there's a bunch of us on Cook Road who are here tonight who are having a transite line replaced. So does that mean our service lines get replaced? So that's part A. And then part B is following the instructions on identifying what kind of pipes we have that go into the service line into the house. I followed the instructions, but I didn't fit any of the answers neatly, and I'm not confident that the information I gave you was correct. So I don't know that sometimes the categories don't quite match. So how can we be certain that we've identified our service lines correctly? Thank you.
So the first question about transite. So transite is a pipe that was built in the 40s to 60s that is concrete and asbestos. So we're replacing that now. We are replacing that pipe, and we will be replacing the services off of that pipe. Does that answer your question on that? Okay, thank you. Part two, why don't you come to one of these tables once we're done with this Q&A, and we can help with that, and if we need to, we can come out and help you.
I'd like to answer that actually, because I think it's a good general question. When you are taking the survey and you're looking at the materials coming into your home, if it does not neatly fit, you can check other or do your best guess. That is why we ask for a picture, and that's why we verify on the back end using that picture. If the picture is unclear, if it's covered by paint, if it's something we can't see, and if we're not confident, we will leave it as unknown, and then when we come to do the work, we will pothole by the curb stop and check it before we begin the work.
Yep.
Hi. Question. With you guys running the water, would that make the water bill higher for us payers and for that month?
So that's also an excellent question. We have we've looked at the volume of water that would be used in flushing for 30 minutes and the average charge that may go with that. We anticipate it may be about $5 extra on your water bill for the month. So it is possible that you will see an extra $5 for that month, maybe 10 if it's really aggressive, but it should not be outside of the double digits, really. It's $5 to $10 is what we anticipate.
Back to Leslie.
Clarity on the funding for the project here.
Sure.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is I don't think you actually answered the question of if I sell my property or if I refinance my property of a property owner in the Linden area, are you guys going to recoup that money on the back end? Or if I sell it or if I refinance? Because if you have contractors come in, I know the city is paying the contractors to do the work, so you got to recoup the money somewhere. I am a city employee here in the city of Columbus with the refuse division. So I just need specification, and everybody in here, if you're paying contractors to do the work, you're losing money, so you got to recoup it somewhere. So where is it coming from?
The answer is no. As if you're part of a CIP and you're part of the lead service line replacement program, we will not recoup that money from your property individually if it's sold or if it's sent to a thing. Now, we do have a program called LEAP, and today, if your line breaks before you're part of this project, once again, that is your side's responsibility before we're there. While we're doing the project, where we're on a main, no, we do not recoup any of that money from your individual property. Everything is built into water rates. We charge water rates based on the amount of money that we spend as a utility. We are a nonprofit, so we do not take any more money in than we spend in order to maintain the system. And we have an asset management plan in place, so we've always baked into our rates things that we need to do, like main replacement, like service line replacement, because we know that these are obligations we have as a utility. So it is part of the bill paying structure that you have, but it is not attached to your individual property. It's just citywide how we pay for water.
Question is, you know, you have your yard where you're responsible for, then you have the sidewalk, and then the grass out there. They're coming around planting trees in that part of the grass, which is you guys' is. Why can't y'all come and cut that part of the grass or the trees? Or wait a minute. You're planting two trees there where the water line is, and when that tree grows up, it's going to yank that water line out. So why can't the city come and cut that grass?
I believe that's oh, thanks. Sorry, Todd. That blew me out there. I believe that question's about the right-of-way. So that's the right-of-way, which is you know, you got the first 5 or 10 feet of the property line. Oh boy, first 5 or 10 feet of the property line there. From curb to curb and side to side. That's controlled by public service, and maintaining that is written usually into the deed of a home. So that's how that goes. I want to be respectful of as much time as we can for our open house. I see a couple questions here in the middle clump, and then we'll go back to Leslie back there again. Liz, I want to start with you here.
Sure. Okay. Oh, yeah, he was first. But yeah, I have a question. There was work done on the south end probably back in 2020. It was a capital improvement project. Is this being done for free for all of Columbus now because of complaints that may have been come up about these type of projects being started? Because when y'all had did the southeast, I think it was off of Gates, but it was a capital improvement project, and they were doing the water lines. And everyone on my street had problem with the water, because once they did the water turn up again, and they put the water pressure through, lines started busting in everybody's yard. Mine was one of them. And I'm upset about that, and I asked them, would they reimburse? And they didn't do it. Now they're offering it free, and I'm kind of wanting there too, like the gentleman back there, is it gonna be some kind of repercussions down the line where you're having to pay for this, and now they're offering it free, or is it going to be something hidden that we don't know about?
I want to make sure that I'm answering or understanding the scope of the question. Are you asking where we're doing this work, or are you again following up on the payment process? I want to make sure to get you the right answer.
I'd like to know if I can be reimbursed, because I have pictures on my phone now. I can show to the public, you know, hey, what was going on? I had to pay for everything myself. So are they doing this because they had prior complaints from around other city projects on this? Because we had to pay for our own.
Right, we're replacing the lead service lines because of a federal mandate. So this has to be done according to the federal government, and that repercussion, if you will, has spanned several administrations of both parties. So we do not see this mandate changing anytime soon. At this point, there's no legislation written that would allow for reimbursements of prior projects. Yes, though, the lead service line replacement is a citywide project as we move through different areas. Okay. So I hope that answers the question. Leslie, I'm going to go back towards you.
What is the expected date for the projects to start? And then I was told outside that if we didn't want to do the survey and let you know what the lead, know about the pipes ourselves, someone would come out. So is that still an option or no?
You want to answer?
Yeah, specific to your address, it depends on what project you're on. So I would highly recommend that you talk to someone at a table. They'll be able to look at your area and when the project begins for your area. They kind of range over the next year in terms of when they start. And so that would be kind of more specific to your particular area. So I would follow up with both of those individually at a table, especially if you in the room, anyone else has the same question. Come find us and ask us individually.
Hi, so you said earlier that if we are incorrect, right, let's say we're not entirely sure, right, about what our pipe falls into, we'd hit other, you guys would come out and dig that area and confirm yourself. If we're wrong, is there any repercussion on our end?
Nope. There's no repercussion on your end to be wrong. Most of the time, that's why we ask for a picture. I would probably say 20% of the time the homeowner is wrong. I hate saying that here, but it does happen. You know, y'all aren't looking at pipes every single day and making that judgment call, and some of them are really old, some of them have been painted over. There's a lot of things that make it difficult. And so we ask for a picture and we confirm via that picture. If it's still unknown, there's just a process for confirmation before we begin the work. That's really all there is to it. And if we discover, let's say 4 years down the line, that it's galvanized and it needed to be done, we'll probably put you on a list on the back end to do it then.
I've been given this sign here. We have time for 2 more questions. So I've got in the back on 1, Liz, we'll come back up to you.
I just got one quick question. You said this is based off of our water bill. Is it our current water bill, or is our water bill about to go up?
Are you talking about the program itself? So we're not, water rates are assessed annually and voted on by City Council. Currently, right now, the rates that you're paying fund our capital improvement projects. They're funding lead, they're funding Blueprint Columbus, they're funding if we have a water main break, if we need to come and do emergency sewer work. So this happening is already being paid for by Columbus ratepayers.
Okay, but as the project continues, is the bill going to increase as the project continues, or is it going to maintain one rate?
I don't want to give you an answer and have you come back and say, that guy told me X and Y happened, because again, water rates are assessed every year. It's November, December. Council votes on them just before their holiday break. So there could be a wide variety of reasons that those rates are going to change.
To Cameron's point, water rates encompass all the work that we do, not just these programs. Over the next few years, we have a variety of projects that are coming online. We have a 4th water plant coming. We have a main for that 4th water plant. We have to replace service lines. We also have to replace mains. There's sewer projects that have to be done. That's also part of the sewage bill. In general, I think it's a safe bet that water rates will probably go up slowly over the next few years because so much work is being done. But that is what's happened over the last few years. We try to keep it as efficient as possible. You'll see that, once again, anytime the ground is open, we're trying to take these out. We are trying to be good stewards of the rates that you give us. So as Cameron pointed out, what's happening today is based on the rates we are accruing today. In the future, it'll be built on every single project that we have to do as a utility.
Thank you for this meeting today. So one question I do have is, we all seen on the news where the water lines were replaced and there was ruptures in the basements of people's homes. A lot of that conversation was around the technicians being poorly trained. What, if anything, has done to rectify that? And if there's a rupture in my home, who do I contact outside of my insurance company?
So that was through our enhanced meter project, is what you've seen on the news here lately. Some of that is actually tied to the fact that the lines are incredibly old when they're working on the meter. The good news is, as part of this project, we will be replacing with a new line. So the line should not rupture. It's a new line. It should be in place. However, if you have a problem, and we've had 1 or 2 problems as we've gotten going. I mean, things happen. It's part of a construction project. There should be information in that packet, the leave behind packet you get, in terms of who to call. You would reach out to us. We will work with our team and our contract team to make sure that you are made whole. We want to make sure that you're restored, everything's taken care of, and that your problems are addressed. I know for the one problem I can think of off the top of my head where we had a lot of rain afterwards and we had trouble finding a guy's valve, the valve wasn't turned back on, they were out there that night able to do it. So we try to be as responsive as possible. We should not see the kinds of breaks that you maybe have seen on the news, because the whole goal is to replace the line so that kind of break won't occur.
That's a great answer and a great thing to end on. I see our room in the back is starting to break up, so I do just want to encourage everyone again. There's two things tonight. We need everyone, please take that lead survey that Hannah was just talking about. Let us know what your pipes are made of. And second, if you are able to fill out a work agreement and you need us to come and replace the service lines, we will have our team around. Every single member in this room in a blue Lead Safe Columbus shirt can help you with individual questions. We're going to have 2 tables up here, several in the back, and out in the hall. I want to thank the Community Center tonight for hosting us. I want to thank Columbus Television for being here, and our great partners, the Columbus Public Health and Columbus Department of Development. Thanks, everybody.